questioner, Steve Hessen, out there in Spanish Town. I really want to welcome you all and special welcome to our very special guest, Member of Parliament and opposition spokesperson on transport. Mikael is no stranger to this platform, no stranger to this program, and of course, we always have the pleasure of him sharing with us. Tonight's event, which is the final event of this nature for the year, is the topic is really looking at giving us his view. Our guest will give us his view on the status of the public transport sector, and of course, look also on safety on our roads and his Christmas thought to the public transport sector. Before I hand over to him, Brother Jeffrey, I just want to make a point, and this is, of course, on the whole matter of the wrecking of public passenger vehicle. After our last outburst, I think it was sometime last week, members, the government and the transport authority came out to say that they are putting in place something, and of course, within the next 2 weeks, there will be a new rate sheet and a list of approved records for the sector within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm happy for that, and it's a good thing that we made a burst out on it because it is getting from bad to worse. I saw a receipt this morning, $47,000, 5 kilometers. And I tell you, it hurts, it pains. And I hope I'm not being recorded by Nationwide on this point. I want to say it very quietly. If I see another unfortunate wrecking before the Christmas, is my hope that within that space where that wrecking is done, at least we lock the shop and we throw away the key on that wrecking company. We have to get it right. But if we don't stand up, we will not get it right. So let me hope.
One moment, Mr. Newman. Sorry, Mr. Newman. One moment. Mr. Newman, sorry to cut you. One moment, please. Can you put on camera, please? Go on camera for me, please.
No, my space cannot allow me to put on camera just now, Jeffrey.
Okay,
sorry about that. Again, get back to the space in a moment. A bit noisy. So I'm saying we have to get it right. Right? And if we don't, 2004 will not be looking good on issues like these. For over 15 years, we've been talking about this wrecking company issue, and we can't get it right. Well, we have 2 weeks to go, or maximum 3 weeks. If it's not right, then people are going to see me wrong. So I want to thank those who brought up the issue last week, and we have reached somewhere with it, and I hope it will stay in the space where we can see some justification. Finally, I beg you all, for heaven's sake, have some pride of your space on the road. Have some respect of your space on the road. Have some respect of those who are driving behind, before, and beside you. I want to commend the transport sector on the whole. I mean, not much fatalities within the sector, but if it's one too much. And when one person dies, caused by an accident within the sector, even international media will pick it up, and we get the lashing that sometimes we don't deserve. So I urge you all to drive safely. Remember your brothers, your sisters, and your neighbor on our roads. Thank you very much. Right now, I'm going to ask my co-host if you have a word to say. Go ahead. If not, we're going to be bringing in now our Minister in Waiting and the Member of Parliament for, is it Southwest Manchester? He will remind me.
Northwest Manchester. Northwest.
Northwest. Thank you very much, Northwest Manchester. And a very ardent Member of Parliament who speaks on the issues as they arise. So right now, as soon as he's finished, I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions. And then, so right now, I hand over to Mikael Phillips, opposition spokesperson on transport.
Good night. Good night to everyone. Yes, I'm hearing you. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me
Yes, sir. Go
clearly?
ahead, Mr. Phillips. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Very loud and clear.
Yeah, man. Good night, everyone, and all the best for the rest of the Christmas season and a blessed New Year when it comes. Um, well, to really summarize the year itself, the what has taken place in the transport sector for this year. I mean, we're seeing our fourth Minister of Transport in 7 years, going 8 years. We have seen different policies from each minister um, having to do with the transport sector. If I am to be fair enough, each has come with their own style. The Minister Vaz himself has come with a hands-on approach to the transport sector. We have seen where increase has been given to the operators themselves, a reduction being given to the JUTC to reduce inflation. We haven't seen any improvement in the JUTC operations itself. And even though the conversation is being had at a bigger table, I'm not sure what the policy direction of the government will be to do with transportation. I've always advocated that there ought to be a national plan to transportation, and not only just public transportation, but just that includes also the movement of goods. As you know, transport itself contributes anywhere about 5 to 6% to the GDP of the country, which is a large percentage that it contributes to the GDP of the country itself. So, transport needs to be given front and center. As I've always said, that transport it affects the productivity of our country, because if we can't move the workforce in an efficient way, then we're going to see reduced productivity. You have about 1 million Jamaicans who relies on public transport. So, moving into the next year, I would love to hear from the government itself, its own plan for public transport, how it is that the government and private investors will exist and cohabitate in the same space, how it is that we're going to treat with the KMTR and the order itself in the sector, how it is that the government itself plans to deal with our town centers and the Montego Bay Metro. Montego Bay Metro, I understand that the government wants to divest it, but then what are the true plans for the sector itself? So after being in the government, being in power for 7 going 8 years now, there is still that need for a national transport plan, but not the ad hoc way in how it is dealt with. When of our own plans, meaning the party that I represent, if we were to come to power tomorrow, that national transport plan is something that will be top front and center of what we do. That has to be number one on our agenda in putting that out, in how it is that we have said before, we need to treat the public transport sector in a similar way in how we treat those who operate in the tourism sector and other sectors, the rent-a-car sector. Because if you're to look at what the investment is from normal operators, who I refer to as investors, vis-a-vis to the tourism sector and the rent-a-car sector, you're running neck and neck in a dollar amount for investment, and the contribution to the economy, as I said earlier, is great. So how it is that we can do to make that national transport plan, that we don't only subsidize those in the KMTR, but how it is that we do the same for the elderly in rural Jamaica and the school children moving from town center to town center and school from school to school. How it is that we actually, provide adequate parking space for those in the sector itself? How do we not only provide adequate parking spaces, but also how it is that we provide that space, that safe space, and a decent space for those who rely on public transport? Let us use the town of Mandeville itself. In that, half of those who operate within the town have to park on the roadside because there's just not adequate space for those that terminates in the town of Mandeville, which creates chaos and traffic congestion in the town center. Then what we have are then those who are supposed to be enforcing the law coming down on these operators with an iron fist, but yet still not enough space is provided for them. So there are those things that needs to be sorted out. And I said, I feel like a recurring decimal because these are things that are not just existing now, but it has been existing for quite a while. And I don't believe that we are treating the sector itself in a way that it ought to be treated. And the plans in how it is that we build out the sector are being done in an ad hoc way. Now, when it comes to the JUTC, that is one that, the reduction in fares for me caught me by surprise. That was not something that I understood would have happened, because the last time that JUTC got a fare increase was in 2013. And for any company, be it a private operator, a government an entity operated by the government, that is getting a subvention of $10 billion and going to make a loss of $11 billion before this reduction, it would be one that would have been bankrupt and those who manage it sent to prison for bad management. So, seeing that the government, their thought was really to manage inflation than to deal with the real issues that confront the JUTC, is one that for me is a backward step. If you read the minister's statement in Parliament, meaning the Minister of Finance, it was his hope that persons would flock to the JUTC come January 1, when the reduction starts, and force the hand of the private operators in the sector, that they would have to then now reduce their fares. Now, that for me, that is like giving in one hand and taking away from the other, because I am sure that the Minister of Finance was sitting in a cabinet meeting when the cabinet itself had granted the approval for the fare increase to the sector itself. So to be doing a gerrymandering sort of approach in pushing for the operators, especially those in the KMTR, to reduce their fares because of the hope that everyone will flock to JUTC, is an unfair approach to the sector itself. I said it from day one that the increase in fares would have had an inflationary effect. Everyone would have understood that it would have an inflationary effect. But I think that as much as we're trying to suit the consumers, the operators have to be taken into consideration, that they themselves did not get an increase for over 5 years. And might I say that the move that the government has taken, I don't think that the operators can look for an increase come the new financial year in April of next year that has been promised. because it will still have that similar inflationary effect. And the government's approach is more about containing inflation than dealing with the real issues that confront the sector itself. So in summary, I would say that we still have a far way to go in the public transport sector. I think that there has to be a real look at the sector itself. It is one of those industries that is a growing industry within the economy, but more needs to be done, not only for those who operate, but also for those who utilize the public transport system right across the country, not only in the KMTR, but right across the country from Moran Point to Negril Point. There needs to be a greater look at a national transport plan moving forward in the short term, like yesterday. So if there are any questions, I am open to questions.
Yes, we must say thanks to opposition spokesperson and transport, Mr. Mikael Phillips, for coming on and speaking to us. If there's any question, please raise your hand and we can acknowledge you. Mr. Newman, have anything to say, sir?
Yes, I just want to commend Mikael on his last 2 points. Very important. One, on a national transportation policy. We have been clamoring for that for many years now, because without a policy, we can't do anything. I think we're sort of playing hopscotch right now because we don't have a policy. So that is very important for the new year to continue to beat on. And the other thing, which is of most important to me, is his remarks with regards to the whole issue of additional fare increase come April of next year. I have been tugging with the idea of whether or not we're going to get a second increase, but I can't talk out. But Sir Phillips opened the can, and it's something for us to think about. We got one, we'll be getting the other, and for those in the KMTR who didn't take up their 19%, and they're going to take everything in one come April. Think again. So those 2 points, co-chair, is my concern. I see Steve hands up.
Before Steve get in, I think IRFM was asking a question, but let's let everybody know we're live on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. IRFM, you have a question for Mr. Phillips, then we can go to Steve. Okay, Steve?
Good night.
Go ahead.
Good night, everybody. Steve. Good night, Sir Philip.
Good night, my brother, and all the best for this season.
Same to you. I know your ambition is to be for PNP to win this general election, but it looks sticky. But for the next 4 years, you can run as Prime Minister. But for now, it's sticky for you. But what I'm saying to the JUTC, government do not provide not even 10% of transportation for the public transportation.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Kingston, St. Andrews, and St. Catherine region, they might be provide about 15% because government don't have no bus to provide transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Even if tomorrow morning the government say $10 for everybody across the board, them still cannot provide 20% of the traveling public. So that is not a threat to us. But I'm saying that the government approach to the private sector is very heavy-handed, Bucky Marshall thing. And I just see PNP saying nothing about it. You guys not doing nothing, saying nothing. I come like, you guys just sit down into a comfortable chair and say, okay, let the government do what they want to do. When the buck stop, you guys take it up. I don't understand what you guys doing. Because in the carpet era, Kingston, St. Andrews, and St. Catherine, where government just have about 15% bus to carry people them from point A to point B. And at the same time, you have like a police harassing, transport authority harassing, and all of these people. And even the record company, what is so, them one of the biggest extortionists into the PPV sector. And transport authority is the second extortionist into the PPV sector. Because if the transport authority who in charge of a phone and every record fee you pay, you have to go to transport authority with it. And if the transport authority know that the record company charging us 100 and 200% increase, and the transport authority sit down years now, not yesterday, years, and sit with it. And when you go down there and you show them, okay, you have to talk to supervisor, you have to talk to manager. When you call supervisor and manager, them into a meeting, them give you a circle, a run around. And I believe that if a record company is supposed to charge $100, and them charge $101, and you go down there to the transport authority, the transport authority is supposed to, them in charge of a record company, them supposed to give us, reimburse us back our money. Because as the minister come out, boasting in him happy colors, say them charge drivers and doctor over 100 drivers, them charge overcharging people, yes? If a driver who drive a PPV vehicle overcharge $1 more, him wrong. But at the same time, I never see him come out and charge no record company. Record company who supposed to charge 8,000, them a charge 20, 25,000. And transport authority boss come out in him living colors, show up how many drivers them charge. And the record company what a receipt go to them. It's not if and but. It's not maybe. A receipt go to them at transport authority. And them never charge no record company. So I don't understand what it is going on.
Yeah, all right. Steve, for the interest of time, because I don't think we have enough time with Sir Mikael Phillips. Ask the question.
I'm in my constituency and I need to go in a little while. But Steve, one of the things that I think needs to be really looked at is the Transport Authority was set up as a regulating body. It has morphed itself in a regulating and enforcement body. I've always said that the enforcement side to the public transport should be removed from the Transport Authority, and they regulate the sector. That is the first thing. And then with that comes even also with the dealing with the records and all of that. If we are to talk plainly, there's too much corruption in the record system. And Edgerton had touched on it earlier, that is something within the new year that has to be looked at and dealt with. But there has to be a way. And I said, we keep kicking the can down the road in dealing with matters and not dealing with them as they come forth. With the matter of us keeping quiet, the truth be told, I don't think there is any other spokesperson in the People's National Party right now that is as vocal as I have been. Part of the problem within the sector is that the sector itself is more political than both political parties.
Repeat again, sir.
It is. And what has happened is that it suffers because the sector itself has not been able to speak with one voice. And when the sector, as a spokesperson, there's so much and no more I can do. I can't put the law in place, right? I have come to Parliament for the last 6 years, and I've made suggestions on things that I believe can improve the sector itself. But if the minister don't want to take it on board, all I am doing is really talking. What I would love to see is seeing the sector more vocal, coming together as a unified body. I have seen it in the past. It has happened in the past. But why can't they do it now? The voice of the sector is more powerful than any spokesperson or any minister. The voice of the sector. And it doesn't have to be that you go and lock down the sector. But if everybody come to the table and speak with one voice, believe me, be it PNP or JLP in power, you will see that you will get way more done. Eh?
So true. So true. So true. I want to comment on the point, Sir Phillips. Let me welcome all those who joined us lately. I see my friend Curious there. I've heard his voice.
I see Curious.
Yes, Curious is somewhere there. I want to also welcome all other persons. Charmaine, she was in a debacle recently. We spoke to her issue earlier on. And then several other persons have joined us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I saw my good friend from Portland, the president of the Eastern, we call it now. He knows, I can't remember his association name sometime. But I have another hand up there. Could you go ahead?
Yes, it's my hand. The question I want to ask,
sorry.
and I will say this publicly, I hope he don't mind, my good friend Mikael Phillips, who at any time at all you call on him, he's willing and able and ready to come on. The problem that I face, both when I'm in Jamaica, when I'm outside of Jamaica, I listen to all the billions of dollars that is being pushed and pumped into JUTC. Yes, it's a government entity. But Sir Phillips, if the People's National Party should gain state power whenever the man put on his clerks and call the election, and if what and you become Minister of Transportation, what can you do differently to curb the multi-billion-dollar loss that the JUTC is having? And two, what you are going to do, is it that you can implement reckon system that is only the Transport Authority have the authority to send out records to pick up the public transport sector vehicles and private sector vehicles? Because what is going on, as what Mr. Hessing says, is living down extortion. Over to you, sir.
All right. To start with the last question, as I said earlier, when Mr. Hastings was answering his question about the records, is that I believe that the Transport Authority ought to get back to its core function of regulating and leaving enforcing for another body. What body that is, we'll have to decide on the makeup of that body. But I don't think that the Transport Authority ought to be doing enforcing and regulating at the same time. So definitely that is something that needs to be looked at. Where the JUTC is concerned, because of the policy that this administration had the approach that it had taken, in that between 2016 to 2022, that they were not going to purchase any new buses in the fleet. Now, let me say this, and it might be controversial, but the IMF, even before this administration, said that the government should not be in public transport. No multilateral should come to any country, independent country like ours, and dictate to us what they think is right from wrong for us. In this instance, I disagree with them, and because of that, the government decided not to reinvest in the fleet of the JUTC. Hence, we are where we are now. It won't take an overnight fix to get it back to where it is, or where it should be, or was. It will take at least 4 to 5 years, because it's going to take a serious investment in getting new buses to put into the system. Without having a running fleet, your fare box is going to suffer, your parts expense is going to suffer. Right now, the JUTC is spending about $1.5 billion on parts with less than 50% of the fleet. Something is wrong. I mean, it is just bad management. So let us use the KMTR as an example. You need about what? About 30,000 to 40,000 seats on a daily basis. The JUTC is providing less than 10,000 seats on a daily basis. The JUTC needs a fleet of over 450 buses to bring their revenue up to 70% of their overall expenses. The JUTC now is rolling out less than 200 buses on a daily basis. Less than 200 buses. So even with the addition of the 50 buses recently, still has not helped the fleet of the JUTC. The government will have to at least purchase between 150 to 200 buses on an annual basis to bring the JUTC back to where it should be. So it is not expected to make a profit, but it is expected to at least have revenue that will reduce the subvention from the taxpayers and at least take care of 70% of its recurrent expenditure. But when you have a system as we have in the KMTR, where you have the Hackney operators and the JUTC, I think that there's space for everyone, but I think that we'll have to probably look at how it is that you make Kingston and St. Andrew into different regions, and probably would have to look at a different approach of franchising out different regions in the KMTR to be able to have order and to be able to have the JUTC and private operators surviving in the same space. I've heard operators say that that I'm trying to lock down operators in the KMTR. That is far from the truth. I think there is space for everyone, but it is a system that you put in place that will create not only order, but where I sit as a future minister, I also have to not only be concerned about the operators, but also be concerned about those who use the public transport system, which is the majority of the population. At least 1 million Jamaicans are reliant on public transport. So it is how that you bring the synergy of both the consumer and the operator in making something that is workable, not only for both, but for the economy itself.
So Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Maybe I shouldn't ask this question here. I'm gonna say it anyhow. What is the views on the whole boundary with Portmore becoming an ex-parish?
There's no benefit to Portmore becoming an ex-parish. The truth be told, it is just mere political. It is just mere political, and I think it is a backward step. If it is that we're going to, and no matter which government is in power, the people should have a say in if it is that they feel that Portmore should become a parish.
Mr. Newman, over to you. Thank you so much, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you very much. I was going to say Dr. Phillips, so you're reaching there.
Mr. Newman, I have a question, sir.
Go ahead, Trelawney.
Yes, this is from Mr. Phillips. Earlier, he made a statement that we should come together as a group, for our voice is more powerful than that of a spokesperson.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I want to ask you, Mr. Phillips, what is your views on the steering committee, one? And the second question, double barrel. Why did you pull out of the committee?
Well, the steering committee, from when I accepted the offer from the minister, I asked what was the terms of reference of the steering committee. I still have not seen the terms of reference of the steering committee. If it is that the steering committee is only going to meet to discuss a few hot topics, then it is going to be a waste of time. All right. I told the minister from day one that I would not be part of any committee that was going to deal with the setting of any increase in fares. Yeah? Because how I saw it was the minister basically deflecting his responsibility and that of the transport authority and trying to put it on the operators themselves and me as spokesperson. So when he came out to say that I was a part of setting the fares, I told him that was a low blow from the minister. And then if it is that the minister did not correct what he put out there, then I could not be part of something that was just going to be just a pawn for the minister. I cannot be a pawn for any minister or anyone like that. Hence why I removed myself. I said to him, once we can have a conversation on what the terms of reference will be, I am willing to come back and sit on the committee. He said that we will meet soon. That soon has not yet come as yet. So I am still waiting on the minister to tell me when it is that he's available to have that conversation.
Mr. Phillips, one more question from me to you. If you become if your party should win the next election, you still be Minister of Transportation, are you willing to turn the transport sector over to the OUR when it comes down to fare increase?
Well, I've been saying it for quite a number of years. I don't think that any political directorate, minister or any such should be the one who set the fares, because too often it is done for political expediency. Hence why it is that the operators had to wait so long for an fare increase. It ought to be put to an entity such as the OUR or any which other which can set the fare increases for public transport, so that we don't have to, because there is a double-edged sword, when you wait so long. When you give an increase, you have to give a double figure percentage increase, which affects the consumer. And when you wait so long, the operators themselves suffer because of the length of time that you take. I think it is something that we can agree that it's either every 2 years or every 3 years that an increase should be given at X time, and the entity which is a regulator sets the fares, send it to cabinet. The cabinet can either accept or decline. Just similar like how you set up an entity to deal with the toll operators. So I don't think it is something that is hard, but I think it's something that will benefit both the consumer and the operators in taking it out of the hands of the political directorate. As curious with his hands up, finger
go
up.
ahead, Curious. Go ahead, quickly.
You have to unmute though, Curious.
Curious,
yeah, man.
Yes.
Go ahead, Curious.
Good night, gentlemen.
This is the last one I have to take though, Mr. Newman, because I'm sitting in my seat and I have a function with some constituents.
Yeah, but you haven't given us your Christmas message yet. So after Curious, you do that and then we allow you to go. Go ahead.
Yes, with respect, Mr. Opposition Minister.
I say, you look, man, first thing I see, you know.
And
see you for the first time.
Well, I personally I root for change, and I lost confidence in the current transport minister and the current administration. So I would love to know the position of the opposition and the outstanding tickets that was deemed illegal in the Supreme Court. They said outstanding ticket that the government had to go and indemnify themselves and made retroactive in order to still be prosecuting Jamaicans on. What is the position on those tickets?
Well, the approach that I would have taken was really to give your grandfathering the tickets itself, where there would have to be a cutoff point. the system itself, because the actual liability should be the government's, because the system itself is not working and it has not been improved. The only thing that they have improved so far now is really putting in an automated system now where you see they hand over 3,000 handheld sets yesterday, which makes it more efficient and more real time compared to the others. The revenue that the government is losing is going to be negligent to having basically allowing the operators them to at least pay what they had outstanding, but those that are repeat because the system has not picked it up should just been made null and void. I think what you have to do is it cannot go on forever. So let me make that clear. Hence why I said that there had to be a cut-off point, or have to be a cut-off point. But at the same time, ought to make a system that is more efficient. Part of the problem that you're having currently now is that you have officers who are interpreting the law in their own way and not what the law actually says. Yeah?
No, not quite.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm referring to is the government have a ticketing system that they was taken to court on this system, and the Supreme Court ruled that these tickets, was unconstitutional based on my knowledge, because the wrong minister raised the fees.
Yeah, which was the Minister of Finance and not the Minister of Transport.
Wonderful. And we in the transport sector, we know that the tickets that we accomplish are that we were given, for the most part, we were given those tickets unfairly. And we can prove these things. But the worst part of it is those of us who decide to go to the court and pay. Even when we pay, we still get taken up by the police because it is not being reflected in the system. You have people that go to the court. Right now is only because court locked now. But if them up tomorrow and the judge will call them up on ticket charge, and them will pass up them receipt to the judge and say, see here, I pay for these already. So you actually have drivers that get locked up for ticket where them already paid for, and lose them license for ticket where them already paid for.
That is the part that I think that they have to relook at in having them lose their license until the system is fixed. The system is just there ought to be some leniency there.
So the biggest thing that I'm pointing out here is that the government had to go and indemnify themselves. That suggests to me that them do something wrong. You only indemnify yourself when you do something wrong.
Yes, and they use the parliament for that.
Right. And then now they do another thing where them call retroactive. They made the tickets, those fines, they made them retroactive. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but based on my little knowledge, when you go and made what them call it, retroactive legislation, that is a human rights violation in a lot of countries across the world. And that is what have been done to us in the transport sector, and it creates havoc. Sir Newman can tell you, and a lot of others, Steve can tell you, you have one specific lady who, when she go and pay up those same tickets that they made retroactive, the judge took her license and she never lasted the week. She died.
My God.
Yes, man, she never lasted the week. I know drivers who
hold on for me, my good friend. I think Member Phillips may have to go now. Is that true, Member Phillips?
Yes.
Yes, I do, because I
Sorry
should
to
be
be
going to
here. Sorry
another
to be here
event
late,
after
but
this
you
one.
know,
No, man,
we have to bring it up.
but hear me out, because it's something that, well, I plan to raise in Parliament in January when we resume, because if you really look at how they have even looked at even the Road Traffic Act, they have done it in piecemeal. What they have done was really to push the areas with the big fines, but then the regulations that should come with it, majority of them have not yet even been instituted to complement the whole act itself. And you know, it doesn't leave a good sense that the government is interested in dealing with enforcement. Is really about revenue. And that is not the approach that any administration should take if we're going to really.
Lost Member Phillips. Member Phillips, are you there?
Sorry.
If we're really. I forgot now, thank you. The time you call me, and I will tell you what my grant is, all right?
Yeah,
Okay.
respect.
Thank you,
No
Member
problem,
Phillips.
man. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Member
Respect,
Phillips.
respect.
Thank you for coming on.
My brother.
See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Good,
Respect, respect.
I'm curious. I know you have a lot of concern. You want to give another minute to just, because it's been recorded by the media, 2 media houses here. So give you another minute to wrap up your thing.
Well, thank you for that. My biggest concern, and I can safely say I'm speaking for majority of the drivers that is operating, especially in the KMT area. The tickets that the wrong minister raised the fine hand, and that went to the traffic court, the Supreme Court, was contested by one concerned Jamaican. And when it went to the Supreme Court, the judge ruled in favor of Jamaican people that, hey, the government never went through the proper channel when them raised the fine on these tickets. Hence, these tickets were deemed illegal. The government, the current government, called a night parliament, rush to the parliament, in the night. I don't have nothing against them, but these are facts and can be proven. And what they did was to indemnify themselves of any blame so we cannot sue. And also made those same tickets that was ruled on as illegal, made them retroactive, and validate them. So now those tickets that was ruled on as illegal is still being used now to prosecute Jamaican drivers. And this thing creates a lot of havoc in the sector. A lot of damage has been done to the drivers. Until this very day, the drivers is still struggling to clear these tickets. Yes, you
Let me ask you a
can.
question, Q.
Yes, sir.
So based on what you're saying on this platform here,
yes,
not your words, my words, but the government of Jamaica has breached the fundamental human rights of the Jamaican people, and it's starting at the same time.
Yes, because retroactive legislation, I was told this by a lawyer, a learned lawyer, that retroactive legislation is something that is outlawed in a lot of jurisdiction across the world, across Europe, and that is what was done to the drivers, all because the government intend to collect money for tickets that we were given for the most part. And listen my words, for the most part, we were given these tickets unfairly. These tickets were given as a result of drivers does not have anywhere to park, anywhere to let off, anywhere to pick up, and anywhere to conduct their business. I go over this over and over and over. The whole entire Kingston is painted with the yellow sidewalk. and we are being ticketed for the yellow sidewalk anytime we stop to let off and pick up. And gentle people, the contract that we get from the Transport Authority, it states that we can operate within the parishes of Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine. That is the contract. But yet still, whenever we stop in Kingston, we are being charged. And a $6,000 and 3 points are come off of the man them license. A lot of drivers are lose them license as a result. So imagine
curious. I
Yes,
heard
sir.
Member Phillips said something a while ago before he leave.
Yeah.
That the transport sector is divided as the Parliament of Jamaica, as the two political parties in the country. The question to all the members of the transport sector tonight: when are you all going to come together and show our government that they are not of the people, for the people, and by the people? When are you all going to stand up and show them that enough is enough? We come here every day, every Wednesday, or whenever time we come here, and they talk the same thing. They talk the same thing over and over and over and over. Come next year, 2025, God's Carol, we're talking the same bloody nonsense over and over, and nobody doing anything about
it. You know, Jeffrey, it is so unfortunate. Curious, I want to thank you because we're close to closing time. I want to thank you very much. You know, I'm happy you came out because I didn't know you in person. No, I know you in person.
Well,
you have been making some very good contribution to the platform, and I'm happy to have you on tonight. This will be your last night.
Well, give
but
thanks.
I want to say what Jeffrey has just said is important. And the very day I came into the transport sector, that was my aim and objective, to bring everybody together. But government came in and split us up in pieces, and that's what, and we cannot get back to pieces, to one piece up until now. But you know, Jeffrey, I don't believe in the entire masses coming together. I believe in those who have an interest to come together. And I believe if those who, can you see, there's 3.8 million of us, right? Or 2.8 million of us here. But there's 60 members of parliament going up for sit on a parliament, 63 of them, and say they represent everybody. But they are strong in doing that. So why can't we find the few strong arms to sit down, right, and represent the sector? Because everybody wants to be unified.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. New. Let me ask you a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
When the people of Israel started to protest against Benjamin Netanyahu,
yes,
who do you think started the protest? It was the younger people, the public transport sector.
Yes.
So the question I want to ask this afternoon: why is it that the members of the public transport sector is afraid to stand up against what is going on in the country, put in the public transport sector and other things? Why are we so afraid?
I can stop you and answer the question, the entire question. Politics is the root of everything. We are splitting pieces. If you read my post on the platform, the third political party want to cut me through because I'm not inviting them to be engaged. I didn't really understand the third political party. Politics, if I wear a green shirt, it's a Newman Labour, right? If I wear orange shirt, it's a PNP. If I wear blue shirt, it's a NDM. I don't know what to do. Because all of us, the transport sector is split up. So if Newman says something or Jeffrey says something, they put a color to it. And that is why we are where we are now.
Well, everybody knows one thing in the Newman.
Transport sector is water. Because water is life. You're much better than this.
Everybody know where my stance is. My gearbox smash up. No political party put on my 10 pound of chicken back one.
My engine match up, so I can't find a pound of flour. But what I'm saying, Jeffrey, it's time we come together. Those who are interested, you know, I saw Charmaine on the platform, and I know what happened to Charmaine. I'm going to get into details. And if you cut me, you couldn't find blood in there. Okay, blood was in me, it'll come out red, and I put color party to it. Because this is what has been happening to us for 15 long years. And when we talk about it, somebody said, no, leave it alone because it's JLP in power. Leave it alone because it's PNP in power.
That
So it can't reach nowhere. We
Miss
have to take
Charmaine,
control of this thing.
Miss
Yes, sir.
Charmaine is the lady who our boss was taking up with you?
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Miss Charmaine,
well,
hold on for me. Miss Charmaine, unmute your mic and tell me what happened. Did you get back your bus, Miss Charmaine? Is she there? Unmute your mic, Charmaine, if you can.
Good night, everyone. Yes, I did. I got it back.
And what really
good
happened?
night.
Well, the police and transport operators, they were carrying out a
Transport authority
operation at Chancery Street, and the bus was in the line. It was being loaded, and the police and transport authority approached the bus and asked for the driver. The driver did not show himself at the time because he wasn't around at the time. But a call was made to both myself and my son was right there, so he was there on spot. And the police and the transport authority said they were gonna seize the bus because the bus was abandoned. And then eventually the transport authority pulled out themselves and told the policeman that they should set down the bus, and the policeman refused to set down the bus. Transport authority left the scene, and the policeman insisted and seized the bus.
You know, I tell you something, you know. In what modern democracy can this nonsense continue to happen in Jamaica? Are we sitting down and accept this? When are we going to wake up? When are we going to stand up and say enough is enough? When are we going to let them know? And I am not inciting anything. But when are we going to let them know that we, the people, we are the boss and they are our servants? When are we going to let them know? Huh?
Well, Jeffrey, we're gonna make a start, and I'm happy you're back on this program, and I'm hoping that come 2024 we can use this platform to create a change that we need, because the issue with Charmaine is the straw that breaks the camel back with regards to the record service. Many other problems that we have, like the parking in halfway tree.
Yes,
you know. Yes. I want to eat some good food and get my belly bigger, so I can take the hits when the morning come. But we have to do something about this. Jungle people, we might have to close, but is there any burning issue before I wish a Merry Christmas that you want to put forward? My friend from Portland there. You want to say hello to us before we close? Mr. Campbell, are you there? I think Campbell is gone. I know Jeffrey has to go also.
Yes, sir.
Members, I really want to thank you for a year. I'm coming to you, Steve. I want to thank you for a year of good work on your own part as an individual. You have stick to the task. You have tried to earn yourself some living. You go through a rough time. It was hell and patro race out there in terms of outstanding tickets, and it still continues. And I hope that you will enjoy the Christmas, make the best of it, give somebody something if you can, and of course, be joyful and remember the Christ child. We don't know when he was born, but he was born in a manger somewhere in the world. Please give cheer this Christmas. God bless you. I'm going to take a last word from Steve before we ask Jeffrey to close out for us.
So, Newman, you know, it's sad to say, you see?
Yes.
Something have to happen bad for something to come good.
Yes.
You know, all these years, police are take away vehicle, and some people sit back and relax because it don't reach my doorstep.
Yes.
But when you reach everybody's doorstep, everybody crying out. Me used to hear people say, and I never believe I used to hear, I used to. And a lot of time we cry out and say we need some help, but nobody's there to help us.
Yes.
But when you reach them doorstep now, they want everybody to assist them.
But Steve,
yeah?
let me stop you there, because the reason why I took up this issue, again, for the Humpton Times, is because Charmaine is one of the few ladies that stand up with us in fighting for this.
Charmaine. I know Charmaine. I know her very well. I'm not talking about Charmaine. I'm saying it have to get worse. Something have to happen serious for everything to make a U-turn. And I'm glad that it make a U-turn. And I can tell you, the police feasted Ed. He have nothing to say about it. I can tell you that.
Yes.
Mr. Mackenzie have nothing to say about it, because it's all about what them can do and who can show off and who can say, when I was raining, I can do this and I do that. Because we are not united, and because we are not united, everybody come and take step of us. Everybody.
And not only
Thank
that,
you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Not only
Go
that,
ahead,
Mr. Newman and Steve, not only that, there's a famous member of the hierarchy of a former SSP always said, this upper is going to continue to the Lord Almighty come. So obviously, the operation to continue taking over public transport sector vehicles going to continue to the Lord Almighty come.
Yes, he's not saying that so loudly, but
thank you all very much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, IFN. Thank you.
Mr. Newman.
Jeffrey, thank you, Steve. Thanks, everybody, for coming on. Anybody can buy me the bottle of wine for the Christmas? Thank you, if you can. You know where to find me. God bless you all. Thank you. Yes, Steve.
Remember me, I have one little business where you promised me some things I still don't want to give me.
The key to Steve. Don't kill me for that.
No, man, you can't give me my thing, man. You can't do that, Mr. Newman.
All right. We talk after the year, Steve. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. No program for the rest of the year until January morning. Thank you. Bless you. Bless you, everybody.
And for those who are watching us on the YouTube channel, I just want to say, I wish you all happy holidays. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. All of us there. I am Jeffrey Tavares.
Yes, give thanks, people. Give thanks. Give thanks.
Give thanks. Yes. All the best.
I am Jeffrey Tavares saying thank you all for watching the Make Me Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until you hear our voice again, may God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, sir.
Have a good night.